Hello, everyone. My name, Saji Sharma, and I was a lifelong stutterer. I'm happy to say that that is no longer the case. I began stuttering as long as I can remember, but uniquely enough, my stuttering journey began with a bit of irony. My mom actually works as a speech therapist, so God or whoever is up there decided to have a good laugh by giving me a stutter. My whole life, I saw talking as this unfathomably irresistible, yet impossible task. I yearned for the ability to go up to someone and compliment them, introduce myself, and attempt to have one of those life-changing conversations you read about in books or watch in movies. I was always the timid and shy kid that didn't know what to do with himself. The most important being I could always speak. It just took discipline, self-care, and community to see that. Thanks to Lee Lovett and everyone a part of this beautiful community, I've realized that I want to be in front of the camera. I want to continue my pursuits in entertainment and performance because I refuse to acknowledge stuttering as a hindrance to my God-given talents. If anything, this stutter is a blessing because it showed me how much I'm willing to work to have what I want. It separates me and it separates us from the pack. Stuttering doesn't make us weaker, it makes us stronger. Doubt is an evil thing. Let your voice rise above.
Well done, Saji. I can definitely say that was one of the most passionate talks we've ever heard at SAM. I just love the passion just radiating off the screen, and I thought you did a tremendous job. Obviously, with a lot of stuttering programs out there, it's met with high skepticism from a lot of PWS. So, if you were to tell anybody who's kind of on the fence of joining this program, what would you say to convince them to join this amazing program? Because obviously it has helped you in spades.
I think that my answer would have to be along the lines of this program doesn't necessarily help you overcome your stutter. It helps you learn how to speak. And that is a tool that most fluent speakers don't even know. I think like even if you are born without a stutter, to learn how to speak with passion, to learn how to speak in a way that feels alive is a thing that everyone has to learn. And I think this program teaches people that to speak is to be alive. And I think that in itself is a key.
My mother is a Serbian language teacher, so the same applies to me. How can you allow a stammer to your child if you are a Serbian language teacher? But I'm very glad that you rose above it. And since you are a YouTuber, my question is, will you join me on my Unblock Your Stutter podcast? Okay, thank you.
Oh my goodness. I would love to, Milos.
Thank you,
That's
my friend.
awesome. Yeah, no, of course. It's ironic because my mom she's a speech therapist, but she isn't a stuttering specialist. So she wasn't able to help me specifically with my stutter as a kid. So although she was there for me in trying to comfort here and again, it was a lot harder for her because she didn't, have the information to really help me.
Now, I'm curious about since you made this YouTube community post, right? So I'm wondering, did that take courage to post since you're kind of announcing it, right? Or did you just feel like it was a natural step and there was time?
That was a bit of both, I think, a step and sort of a announcement as well. I think that took a lot of courage. And it also sort of allowed me to present myself to a community and an audience and kind of be like, this is who I'm going to identify myself as now. And that is a big step to make because once you are able to see yourself in a specific light or in a specific way, it helps you to overcome these things. And I think with stuttering specifically, you have to really be able to look at yourself as a fluent speaker or as a person who is not a stutterer.
What did your mom say now that you have become a PWSS? And what does she say about Coach Lee and the 1-2-3 punch?
She's very ecstatic and very curious as to what she can learn to help her students. She teaches at an elementary school here in Virginia, and Lee Lovett, just released a book to help speech therapists learn about speech. I am hoping that she'll order it because she has expressed her joy to me. It's great that this community of people can come together to educate others, in a way that we really haven't been able to before.
And as you said, stuttering makes us stronger because we learn how to control our own mind. And if you can learn how to control your own mind to get victory over one demon, there are so many other demons in our life, and you can apply the similar techniques to control those. So speech is just one victory, but you overall learn to get victory over other aspects of your life where
Absolutely.
you are struggling. So that was a fantastic statement.
Thank
So
you.
my only question is that what was or what is your daily routine like for 1-2-3 punches?
My daily routine consists of a few things. I think it's really important to wake up and not get on my phone immediately, which, is a hard thing to do, I think. As a person whose job is to be online all the time, it's really enticing to want to go online. It's also really important that I know and am aware that I try to stay away from screens because it's super important to have control, as you said, over your own brain and your own mind. After that, I try to do affirmations and do reading. And also, I think I try to go on walks as well. That 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 tends to help me a lot. Just anything where I feel like my headspace can really be in control of itself and it's not feeling threatened by any outside, thing.
Can I ask the impact that being now a PWSS had on this journey, and if you've seen like a change in terms of content, of confidence, etc., or like not at all?
I mean, I have absolutely. I think there's been a big change in terms of my thought process and my headspace when I record now. I'm a lot less concerned or obsessed over the words that I'm trying to say, and instead am a lot more aware and not aware. I'm a lot more in the moment, and trying to sort of like be a character or like act out like these lines or like, and I think that's like it feels really nice to record now because it's almost my optimal space in a way. Like I'm able to just be present completely. And actually, when I'm like out and about and I'm in interactions where I feel tense or I feel anxious, I try to draw back from that space.
How did your subscribers? They used to react about your stammering. If you could travel in time, uh, which advice would you give to your younger self about authenticity and how your speech impact you use it to impact negatively your way of acting?
At first, there weren't a lot of comments. I'd say only like 1% of all of my comments were about my stuttering or had to do with my stuttering. And I actually released a video where I discussed it, because it did get to a point where there were a lot more comments about my stuttering, that I felt like it would be easier to acknowledge that this is a thing that I have to deal with so people know about it. But I also I don't necessarily regret making that video, but I do in a way because that I made that video before I started this program. And me doing that was sort of an exclamation of, this is me, I'm a creator and I have a stutter, where that isn't necessarily the case, nor is it how I identify myself now. So that that ties into your next question, I think, which is just about sort of what I would tell myself if I could travel back in time, and that would just be, don't let stuttering define you, um, because everyone has speech that is imperfect. Uh, we talk and we have hiccups here and there, and there are repetitions, and that's just sort of like everything in nature is imperfect. And to obsess over that and overthink about it is the issue, and that is the crux of the problem.
Raji, wonderful, wonderful job. You just have a great, great speaking voice, period. So I'm really glad that it can shine now. My question would be, what are some situations that, maybe you are still fearful of? Or I guess what's, the next thing on your fluency ladder? Great job.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome question, Patricia. I, am still afraid here and there, and I think it's important to um, be able to acknowledge that fear, because everyone has it all the time. But my big hurdle is and sort of always has been the like introduction, um, having to say my name, and that's just because like as a kid I had a lot of what's the word? I had a lot of like disfluencies with my name when I had to introduce myself, and because of that there was just a lot of incidents that I correlate to, just been a hard thing for me on this journey. But like a big helpful part of the program has been understanding and realizing why we're afraid of these things and how to overcome that fear. And I do think that the majority of the pressure that we apply on ourselves is because of ourselves. Like this, we we are doing that to ourselves. So honestly, I'm like at a point where I love to speak to people, and I always have, but I do feel like at this point there's now an an ability to do so. So I think it's really important, for the stage that I'm at right now in my speech journey, to act on urges and impulses all the time. Like if there's an urge to talk, just do it. Don't don't hesitate. Just talk.
Now that you are a PWSS, how is your mind training? Like, are the affirmations still addressing speech related issues or have you upgraded it?
I like to change my affirmations over time, because I do think we do sort of enter new stages of our journey, as our brain grows. So I do think it is helpful to alter and, as you said, upgrade our affirmations. So now the majority of them have to do a lot more with like allowing yourself to act on urges or to act on impulses, and not give in to fear, and sort of like don't hesitate, and that kind of thing, because again, it's really important for me to have a good headspace, be confident, and just be able to act on urges to where I allow myself to feel like I can be myself. Um, so yeah, hope that answered your question, Patricia.
Yes, of course. And I just have one more question. I
Yeah.
just, saw a comment from your YouTube channel, and one person has said that I originally was drawn to your channel for the visibility of someone cool who stutters. Just please take care in not making it sound as if stuttering
Yeah.
people all want to be fixed. So I feel that still there are people who doesn't want to let go of the identity that they are stutterers.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
unless they do let go, I don't think they can ever become a PWSs, right? So
Yeah,
how do you see this in general?
that's a good question. I read that too, and I was a little bit not conflicted, but I don't want to tell anyone how to live their lives.
Exactly.
And I think it's really important that we give people the option or the tools to access that and choose for themselves. Because once they can see the other end of that, then they can decide for themselves. And I think it's like I may not have ever thought that I would reach this point in my life where I like how I am able to interpret my own speech and how I speak with other people. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't go through this journey with this program. And I don't want to, again, I don't want to tell people what to do or how to live their life, but like I want them to be able to see the effects of what we're doing here. And that's at the end of the day, I think all that we can do.
Absolutely. Great response.
Absolutely. And, just to throw my comments in there, it's not, necessarily a bad thing to be a stutterer, but let me tell you, life is so much better when you're no longer blocking, repeating, forcing, pre-planning, overthinking, fearing words. So to any stutterer who may be watching this now or in the future, I'm telling you, just put the work in with the 1, 2, 3 punch and your life is going to change forever. So thank you, Pratyusha and Saji.
I also have a YouTube channel with over 2,500 subscribers. And even though I have a stutter, or I'm soon becoming a PWSS, I don't even, I still am confident enough to put the camera on my face and say anything I want to say.
There are a lot of people that like to mention that I use modulation, which I do tend to do, but that is just my normal voice. That's just how I enjoy speaking. Um, but my specific favorite, I would have to say, is probably speaking with passion. I think because it isn't a specific crutch, it really helps me to get out of my head and just kind of like talk in the moment, and not be concerned about the specific words.
Absolutely. As Lee says, say it like you mean it. And it's a shame that he can't be here to say that today, since obviously he's more animated than any of us.
Yeah, in the great words of Lee, say it like you mean it.
There you go.
So Saji, that
That
was
was
a
spot on, Clifton.
fantastic speech.
Thank you.
Your modulation at the beginning, I did notice that, and I was wondering, I've never heard you speak before, so I was wondering if that was normal or if you were exaggerating for the speech, but it sounded great. The modulation always, it's hard to overdo that. You sounded fantastic,
Thank
and
you.
you're like a straight up celebrity. So thank you for gracing us with your presence. This is this is quite
No,
an
thank
honor.
you.
My question is, when you were doing your talk, did you use a script or did you have bullet points? Did you have a crutch in mind? Kind of walk us through your prepping for the speech.
Oh my gosh, yeah, of course. I used a script for that. And I think the big thing I was trying to think about was trying to allow myself to get lost in the words of it, and not be concerned about the specifics of which word I might get stuck on and which word I might have a hard time on. But I like this is also how I record too. So I use a script when I record, and as I've talked about already, it was harder for me in the past to do that, because with the words right in front of your face, it's a lot easier to get hung up on the specifics of the words and the sounds and everything that you have to say. But I do think with everything that I've been doing over the past year or two, like it's helped me to get to a place where I am able to easily get lost in the content of the words that I'm reading, and I do give all my thanks to everyone here, and Lee Lovett too. I did my first few calls with him first with in the program, and he really impressed me. He was very interesting, very outgoing, very sort of like, you gotta say it like you mean it, Saji. And
Sounds about
he
right.
helped me, yeah, and he helped me to read aloud in a way that I felt uh, a lot more alive and a less so in my shell. And I think that was the big thing,
I have to say I'm a fan, in fact, of your speaking style, which is why I have two questions for you.
Let's hear it.
My first question is, what like can you tell us what your reading aloud routine looks like in terms of what time of day, how long, everything? My second question is, um, I definitely think you have the talent for the business of doing what is it called? Audiobooks. Is that have you ever considered that? Because I would actually, so I consume them a lot, and I would actually love to have one read by you because it's just the
Oh, thank you so much.
perfect, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I'll answer that question first. I would love to do an audiobook. That would be a lot of fun. And then for your other question, I try to read in the mornings. I think, again, like I try to not be on my phone at the start of the day. And I think it's really important to just fill my brain with fluency memories. Yeah, because then otherwise it's very easy for doubt to creep in, I think. Like if you aren't on top of it, it's super easy to allow old habits or old thoughts to come back. And that just isn't ideal. So in terms of the times for reading, I do like to read out loud in the morning. And I found that trying to read in front of like anyone really helps too, because I actually wasn't able to read aloud on my own, and be completely fluent, because I my stuttering had crept into that space. So when I was alone, it was harder for me to read out loud than other people. But over time, it got easier and easier and easier. And then, to help with your fluency ladder, I think it helps a lot to read, with your family, with your friends, because it is a bit more of a challenge, but you are also allowing yourself to prove to yourself and others that you are able to do that.
Right now, this would be the part where I throw it back to Coach Lee, but since the main man is not here, just to send you guys off with words of wisdom. You can't be confident and keep things moving full force forward, and then at the same time be second guessing yourself when it comes time to do the task at hand. You have to be confident about it and not worry that you're going to fail. Because if you're worried about that while doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to fail. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better's best. So put the work into this program, and I promise you something beautiful, special, and magical will happen. And on that happy note, it's time to close our meeting. I hope that you enjoyed it.
Well done.
Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed exchanging thoughts with ex-stutterers and those fast becoming ex-stutterers. I will now end with our motto. Feel free to say it along with me. If you can say one word, anywhere, anytime,
in time,
you can say,
say,
and love to say,
and love
any
to say, any word,
Anywhere.
anywhere, anytime.
Perfect. Until next Saturday, have a great weekend, my friends.